She said, I will take the dog guy all day. She said, at least he's positive and makes me laugh. She said, this makes me just want to roll out of the car on I-4. And I said, well, I had to tell Tom that you were big on him, that you were requesting.
You tell Mrs. Brandon that's good. We'll put her on the list of females that like the show.
Listen to the Big Dog, weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through,
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama.
Alabama!
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
At that one wreck in Morgan County, 500 block of Center Grove Road, that one had an overturned vehicle, nobody around it, and they've already gotten it out of there. Lots of fog this morning. You be careful on your trip in. You're definitely going to need a little extra time. Get your body summer ready. Pay no joining fee at the Y and enjoy their state-of-the-art gyms, pools, and over 200 classes with free child care. The Y, Huntsville, and Madison. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Penn Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good majority of the afternoon. It is still going to be a hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. Heat indices anywhere between 100 and 105 degrees. We're only going to drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Rain should come to an end Tuesday night, early into Wednesday morning. Mostly to partly sunny skies through Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
The main event for this week's UFC Fight Night has the 8th-ranked middleweight Uriah Hall taking on the 11th-ranked Sean Strickland. Hall, the plus 175 underdog, Strickland at minus 220. Also on the main card, welterweight Brian Barberina at minus 260 against Jason Witt at plus 200. Coming into this morning, the United States and China were tied for the lead with 20 total medals. The U.S., China, and Japan each with 8 gold medals. Updated odds to win the most gold medals, the United States at minus 1,600, China plus 800, Japan plus 2,800. Women's all-around gymnastics odds, the United States minus 350, the Russian Olympic Committee plus 275, and China plus 1,400.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we do say welcome into another brand new live edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. 75 degrees as you make your way into work or wherever you may be headed on this Tuesday morning. Going to be another warm day in the Tennessee Valley, so please take it easy outside. Take care of yourself. If you are working outside, doing anything outside, take it easy. We start you this morning with a little breaking news out of Tokyo, out of the 2020 Olympics. And if you are paying attention later in the day, it's going to be hard not to hear this story. It will be, obviously, you will see women's gymnastics later this evening in a rebroadcast. But Team USA going through some tough times right now over in Japan. all-world gymnast Simone Biles has pulled out of the competition this morning in Tokyo. According to NBC, this was just about 10 minutes ago, her exit from the gymnastics team is not injury-related. It is a mental issue that she is having right now. So Simone Biles, the world's greatest gymnast, has pulled out of the team competition for Team USA. That coming out about 10 minutes ago in Tokyo, and it is taking the world by storm. It is the biggest headline right now as far as the Olympics go. So early on, it was reported that it was an injury, but it is not an injury-related thing for Simone Biles. So that is how we start. If you are paying attention to the 2020 Olympics, it has been somewhat fun to watch, somewhat depressing to watch, simply because there are no fans in the stands. You're not getting that true traditional Olympic atmosphere going on right now on the softball diamond. Team USA taking on Japan in the gold medal game. It is going on live right now. And in the top of the fourth, Japan at the plate leading 1-0 over Team USA. So that is how we start the show this morning. We have got a full lineup. Now, coming up here in just a minute, Kira Lewis Jr. will join the show as we get his thoughts, get his breakdown of his first season in the NBA with the New Orleans Pelicans. We're also going to talk to Barrett Jones and Keith Niebuhr throughout the show. But we also have Zach Harding was in the water last night for the 200-meter butterfly, trying to make the finals. He failed to make the finals. Tough break for Zach Harding. He made it to the top 16 in the world, tried to get in, finished fourth in his semifinal heat, just missing out on a trip to the finals. But again, the top story this morning, the biggest story that's going on right now is Simone Biles, the world's best gymnast, has withdrawn from the team gymnastics final with what NBC is referring to as a mental issue rather than an injury. So that is a tough break for Team USA. Tough break.
No question about it. When you lose the best gymnast in the world, very difficult situation for U.S. gymnastics, but thoughts and prayers to Simone Biles, and hopefully she will be able to work her way through this, and we'll see her compete maybe down the road in the next Olympics.
All right, as we mentioned, we were going to go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline kind of right out of the gates. We're going to pick this show up a little bit, and that is – man, we have followed this guy all the way through every step of the journey, from signing with Alabama at Hazel Green, watching him play at Hazel Green, signing with Alabama, and then going through the NBA draft process, being there at draft night, playing with the New Orleans Pelicans, watching that first basket go in, his first assist. That would be Kira Lewis Jr.
Well, of course. I mean, he made history as the first lottery pick / first round draft choice that we can remember with direct ties to Madison County, Alabama, and of course Hazel Green High School. He had an unbelievable career, and really an unconventional one, because he left high school a year early. He kind of started this trend. He was an outstanding player for 2 years for the University of Alabama, first for Avery Johnson and then for Coach Nate Oates. And as we said, was the 13th overall pick just less than a year ago, really, because this has been so crazy. So Kira Lewis Jr. now has been a rookie for the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's begun his journey in professional basketball. And as you said, Scott, we've been there along the way every step, and we've been honored to do that. Have a very good relationship with he and his family, and Kira Lewis has been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kira, welcome back to Huntsville and Madison County on Talkin Ball 97.7 The Zone. You're with Drew DeArmond and Scott Tyson, man. How are you?
Good morning, y'all too. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Man, I gotta ask you, man. You just got done with a camp up there at Hazel Green.
Right.
Phenomenal camp, by the way. How many camps have you attended as a youth, And how different is it conducting a camp versus going through a camp?
I can't remember how many camps I went to right off, but it's definitely different conducting one than rather being in one because, you basically go from being one of the kids that's having all the fun, like just having all the energy to being one of the coaches, making sure the kids having a good time playing with them. But at the same time, the kids got a lot of energy, and they don't get tired. So it's definitely different.
Well, Kyra, let the listeners know what was the thought process behind it. I know you brainstormed, I'm sure, with your family and, of course, your close friends and people that are still in your inner circle in Hazel Green. What was the thought process behind wanting to do this and give back to your community?
Really just give back. Just meet kids, see the next wave of talent coming through whatever they're doing, and it's a day to have fun, and hope the kids had a good day, meet me and learn something from the game of basketball or life itself. And, really the main thing was giving back to my community the best way I could.
And you did that in a big way as well, presenting Hazel Green High School with a check for $25,000. That is an awful generous and an awful big way to give back to your community.
Oh, yeah. That was a surprise. We wanted to surprise my principal with. They instilled a lot in me from when I was going elementary all the way up to high school. So I just wanted to give them a nice gesture and get them with a donation.
No doubt. That's a great gesture to Hazel Green basketball. We and the Trojans, I know, still mean a lot to you, and that just goes to show that. And I've enjoyed the fact that you've been very active in your community and active back in your home state. I know you've been seen around out at the University of Alabama as well. You were when I was down there with Huntsville High. We were there for Alabama's team camp. I know you were down there in Tuscaloosa. Talk about still being around Nate Oates' program and kind of now that you and Colin Sexton have restarted the NBA pipeline for Alabama. Talk about still being around your alma mater collegiately as well.
Just going around, like you said, being active, seeing the guys working out there, just really having fun. Like you said, about that team camp, seeing who there's recruiting and just seeing the next line that might come through. Just having a good time and being with the guys I was with a couple of years ago. Just talking about old memories and seeing what's next, see how they're going to be this year coming up.
All right, the $25,000 check, not only the biggest surprise that you pulled out of the hat this week, talk about the biggest surprise that you may have conducted and you may have pulled off, the biggest secret that you may have pulled off. Let our listeners know what that might have been.
Surprising my parents with a home. They was already looking for one. Just moved from the one I had been at when we was younger, so I just feel like that was the best thing to surprise them with. Once again, I remember being younger and always saying if I made the pros that was one thing that I was going to do, and I was glad that I was able to pull that one off.
How hard of a secret was that to try to keep?
It was real hard because my mom always wanted me to give her a hint on what it was. So, and then you got to do all the paperwork, and you don't want somebody to accidentally email it to her or my dad. It was real hard to pull off, but I'm glad that I finally pulled it off and got it through.
Yeah, and we, of course, Natasha and your father, Kyra Lewis Sr., such great people. And it was great seeing their reaction. And I know that was something, as you said, that was on your list of things that you wanted to take care of. But it's great to see that your family is also staying in this community as well. I know you guys are traveling. I know you're going out of town now and going to be, and that's just the way it is when you're in the NBA. There's a lot of time on the road, but that your family is still going to have roots here in your community. That's got to be a very proud thing for you and everybody involved.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just staying close to the area, getting them a home there where they still can be able to go out and be in familiar territory and where they want to go, watch a couple of high school games, go back to Hazel Green and watch the game. It's really going to be good. And like you said, them being able to come down to New Orleans and watch games, but once I'm on the road, they still can stay at their house and watch games and just be up to date.
All right, let's break down that first year in the NBA. Take us through the ups and the downs of what was your rookie season with the Pelicans.
It was good. It was a really good lesson. Never get too high in the NBA and never get too low because you're going to go through ups and downs with a long season. Just keep getting better, staying in the gym, watch your film, make sure you take care of your body. Good thing about it is you got older vets that's been in the league, so they're going to help you the whole season, as well as the coaches that might have played or didn't play and got experience with good players as well. So it was a good overall season. To come back for this next year, work on my game, and get ready for what's coming next.
Yeah, and it's got to be exciting. I know there was a big trade yesterday with the Pelicans in the NBA draft, and I know you learned a lot, I'm sure, from from Eric Bledsoe, former Alabama native himself from Parker High School, and he's a grizzled vet. He's another guy that plays the point position. But now with his trade, I know it gives you an even bigger opportunity. How excited are you for year 2 with New Orleans and to try to grow that role?
Excited. Like you said, just having the year under my belt, just learning what I learned from that year 1 and taking it to year 2 of what I can do and what I can't do. Just working the off season, keep trying to get better, fixing my game from what I've seen in the first year. Just really been able to take advantage of the opportunity and have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And
how hard was it not to? I mean, you are one of the best because you are playing in the NBA. How hard was it not to be a fan when you stepped on the court for that first time playing against LeBron James?
It wasn't hard, but it was one of those situations where you get on the court for like 10 seconds and just realize that you're playing against somebody that you always admired and watched on TV. After the 10 seconds and you run up and down the court, it's just like playing against another basketball player that you played against in the past. So I wouldn't say it was hard, but just the first 10 seconds, you were just in a wow moment.
Yeah, no doubt. And Kyra, I know this is what you'd always dreamed of, reaching the highest level of professional basketball, which you have. You put in so much work to get to that point. How was the transition? Because with your skill set, you had still the best first step I've ever seen in high school basketball here, and it translated very well to Alabama. You had a lot of success right away during your freshman year, and, of course, built on that and were a really good fit for Nate Oates. How long did it take you from a skill standpoint to get comfortable playing NBA basketball night in and night out?
It took a while because you're playing against guys that I'm playing for a long time. They know how to guard things. They know the details. So once I just honed in on these details and just took it rep by rep and watch film and, like I said, do what I can do and what I can't do, I just got more comfortable. And I feel like for my first and my second year, it's only going to help me with my pace and my game, and I just continue to get better.
Did it make it easier or tougher with no fans in the stands and it kind of be an empty arena to the start of the year? Now, at the end of the year, they were starting to have people in there, and I know your mom was fortunate, your family was fortunate enough to see some games early, being the limited fans. But did it make it easier trying to make that transition, or was it a little tougher?
It was kind of different playing with fans your whole life and then going to playing with no fans or little fans. But once you got there on the court, it was really like just playing the regular game. You locked in and just try to do the best you can and get a win.
Yeah, and Kyra, last few minutes here with the former Hazel Green Star and University of Alabama standout as he has finished his rookie year with the New Orleans Pelicans. I know obviously you're very excited for the future, but as we were saying, for you, what was probably your favorite moment of your rookie season so far and your first voyage into the NBA?
Just matching up against all the top players in the NBA or anybody matched up in the NBA, and just seeing how it was from a mental and physical standpoint, and really just having fun with it because, like I said, it was my dream. It was my first year, and I didn't know what to expect. So just going night in and night out and seeing how the best players just competed, how your teammates worked on their game, what they did to get ready for each night.
And then you're with a young organization. I know you watched the Bucks win it with Giannis and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and those guys. You've got a young core with yourself, Brandon Ingram, of course, Zion. How much confidence does that give you guys as an organization that one day you could end up getting that Larry O'Brien trophy and bringing a championship down south to New Orleans?
It brings good confidence. But like you said, the Bucks started out young with their players. They just kept getting better and getting more experience. And now that they won the NBA championship, it kind of give us some hope that we can follow in the same path.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so when do you start going through everything? When does the process start, and how much vacation do you finally get?
The vacation is over now. Vacation started right after the season ended. But now I'm back in the swing of things and just getting ready for next year. And I think training camp or sometime around the end of September. So that's when everything starts back up for the next season.
Yeah, and it's a grind too. They always say you get better in the summer, and you've never had trouble being in the gym. Danny Anderson, your former coach, would tell us that he would give you the keys to the gym at Hazel Green. You would get shots up. Are you going to work out a lot in New Orleans? What's kind of the next step for you?
Well, I've been working out in New Orleans, down here with my agency, so it really just varies. I know I'll be in New Orleans some, and probably be in different states wherever my agency takes me to work out at. So as far as where I'm going to be next, mostly New Orleans and wherever my agency is assigned to work out at.
Well, we're excited, man. I mean, and we're excited too for the New Orleans organization because we know your future is very bright there, and you're going to continue to grow your role, which we know is going to continue to expand your game, and you're going to continue to climb the NBA ladder, which is historic for our area. We're very proud of you, man. So far, so good. Great rookie year, and of course, really happy for your family and what you're able to do for your parents. But I know everyone is very excited about where things are going, and continued success. Stay healthy, my friend. And we always thank you for taking time to be back on with us and update our listeners on your journey. But we're very proud of you, Kyra, and thank you for the time this morning.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Thanks, Kyra. Kyra Lewis Jr. joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, getting ready for his second season with the New Orleans Pelicans, his second season in the league. Provided Hazel Green with a check, surprised Hazel Green with a check for $25,000, and then surprised his mom with his family, I should say, with a brand new house. So doing great things, giving back, paying back. Now he's going to have to go out and adjust to the second year in the NBA. New Orleans Pelicans with a new coach as well. Just recently hired a new coach to replace Van Gundy, who was let go after just 1 year with the team. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll update you on Team USA softball as they battle Japan for the gold medal. That one going on right now. Plus, talk some college football.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We've got some fog this morning, and we're dealing with a heavy traffic load all across the valley. You be careful on that trip in. Try to get out the door early this morning. You might need just a little extra time to make it in on time. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. No mask, no hose. Insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. RandallSandlin.com or 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Hey gang, Tom Abraham here, and it's time to get this show out on the road for a little brunch with the big dog. It's been way too long, and we're going to have our first one at Bubby's Diner just north of the South Parkway. Bubby's Diner is flat out amazing in the tradition of an old school diner with an old school menu and some great new items as well. So come on out and hang out with me on Friday from 10 to noon at Bubby's Diner, and look for another great Bubby's Zone deal Friday as well. That's Bubby's Diner with the big dog on Friday, 10 to noon.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talking Ball with Scott and Drew.
Hi, 726 on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back. 76 degrees as you make your way into work, wherever you may be headed on this Tuesday morning. It is 97.7 ESPN, the Zone's Talking Ball. Gold medal softball update from Tokyo. It is going on live right now, and we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. Japan leading Team USA 2-0. So Team USA has a little bit of work to do if they want to get that gold medal. Canada earlier claimed the bronze. So Team USA trying for that gold medal.
Yeah, and hopefully they can get it rolling here. But it's tough. They did went on a walk-off home run against Japan the other day to set up this gold medal rematch. But it's kind of been tough sledding offensively throughout this tournament. Of course, you're facing high-level pitching, but certainly Team USA is going to have to pick up the offense here late in this game. Monica Abbott, former Tennessee All-American, just gave up a base hit. As you said, she's the third pitcher in the circle for this game. But as the Japan added that second run, it was 1-0. And in softball, it's a lot different, 1-2-0 in a game like this. So when you get up multiple runs, hopefully Team USA, though, can rally here soon.
All right, so let's get into some of this college football talk that's going on. And obviously, we have to talk about it every day because it seems like there's always something, every new step that comes along, and that is the Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC, and it'll happen. Yesterday, Texas and Oklahoma did notify the conference that they will not renew their television rights in 2025, so they will be on the move for sure. Now, the SEC is having a meeting on Thursday, and now according to Brandon Marcello, this is their normal meeting. This is not a special meeting, but it is expected on Thursday that the SEC will address Texas and Oklahoma and probably start preparing a formal invite to invite the Sooners and Longhorns to the conference. So that is the next step in the evolution. The Big 12 did release a statement yesterday saying, although our 8 members are disappointed with the decisions of these two institutions, we recognize that intercollegiate athletics is experiencing rapid change and will most likely look much different in 2025 than it does currently. Bob Bowlesby went on to say the Big 12 Conference will continue to support our member institutions' efforts and graduate student athletes and compete for the Big 12 and NCAA championships. He says the remaining 8 institutions, Drew, will work together in a collaborative manner to thoroughly and strategically position the Big 12 Conference for continued success, both athletically and academically, long into the future.
Yeah, until they disband and everybody goes to another league. Because, I'm sorry, they can go out and get Houston, they can go out and get SMU, they can go out and try to attract someone, but I don't think anybody's going to want to come into that league from a football perspective, because this is what this is about. It's not about basketball, because they still got plenty of good basketball schools in that league, but this is about football realignment. Let's just be blunt. And it's about most of the money you get is from contracts for football and television. And so I don't think the Big 12 is going to be able to survive this. I think they're going to splinter. And I think, it's going to be interesting because it's going to set off probably a free-for-all, because I don't think these schools, and I'm talking about the remaining ones such as Kansas and Baylor, they're not going to stand pat because they know that their future is uncertain with this league. Bob Bowlesby is going to try to hold them together, but now that the first step has been taken by Texas and Oklahoma, this is going to set off probably a chain reaction / domino effect, I would think.
Back in 2016, the Big 12 had the chance to add Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF to the conference. Had they done that, the Big 12 would not be in the shape they are in now. The Big 12 would have been a completely different conference if you had added Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF. So what if, since Texas is heading into the league, Drew, over the last 11 seasons, how will Texas fare in the SEC, you might say? They are 52-46 in Big 12 play in the last 11 seasons.
Well,
Oklahoma has faced 3 SEC opponents in big-time bowl games and has lost by an average of 17 points in those games. How far are they off against the top teams in the SEC?
It wouldn't have mattered if they had invited those 3 in 2016 because they'd still be in the same spot. They can't lose those 2 universities football-wise and survive. They just can't, because they're not going to have a big enough draw for television. I mean, sure, Cincinnati's got a really good program right now. We think UCF is going to continue to be strong with Gus Malzahn now as Josh Heupel's moved on to Tennessee. But I don't see it. They just don't have enough draw, enough people that are going to be excited to pay the big money to see it. And, they could still go out and get those teams right now and try to salvage their league, but I just don't think they're going to be able to, just because you're not going to have enough draw from the major TV networks. That, for basketball, you'd be great, but that's not what pays all the bills.
Right.
The basketball arenas are a third the size of football stadiums. So they need to have a draw there. And without the tradition of Oklahoma and the tradition of Texas, you're in big, big trouble. And so that's, where the right now where the Big 12 stands. They're not in a very good position. Losing these two programs. That's why you saw Bob Bowlesby meet with Oklahoma and Texas. They tried to, stop this process, but it was too far down the road. And so, the Big 12, I'm sure they're going to try to survive. I mean, Bob Bowlesby wants to keep cashing checks, but I just don't see how you're going to unite the other schools to want to stay, because, Kansas can go to another league and enhance their football, but then also have a big basketball brand. And so to me, and I think it'll be like blood in the water, I think these other conferences are going to start trying to cherry pick the remaining schools. But it's going to be interesting to see in the coming days how that all plays out.
Now, West Virginia has made it known over the last 48 hours that their intentions would be to join the ACC.
Yeah, that's what we've been hearing.
Yeah, and now they tried to join the league back, I believe, in 2000. Before they joined the Big 12, they tried to join the league, but several ACC schools squashed that hope because of a lot of things. Because, one, they were not a part of the Association of American Universities, the AAU, which we have heard a lot of, because the Big Ten only wants to take teams that are a part of that, and that would only mean Iowa State and Kansas. The ACC snuffed West Virginia the first time. Now, West Virginia has updated a lot of their facilities, have updated the football stadium. Their attendance now would rank 4th in the ACC. At 57,000 a game. So there is a lot of speculation that the ACC would be more welcoming to West Virginia this time around to put the Mountaineers in that conference.
Yeah, and speaking of the ACC, I mean, Jay Billis, who's been featured on our show several times, I mean, he's in favor of the ACC and the SEC right now merging. Whoa. Yeah, he really thinks that if he were on as he put it, if I'm the ACC and the leadership right now, just seeing where everything's trending, he's like, I would try to and where it's going with these super conferences. He said, that the SEC is trying to be like the NFL and control college football. He said, if I were the ACC, you've got, of course, a lot of geographic rivalries that would be a natural matched up with the SEC, and
Florida State, Florida.
He went on record talking about how that if it were the ACC, they think about those two conferences merging, and that would be a super conference, because right now that would be 30 teams, and then if you add a couple more, it could be potentially 32. But then that sets up all kind of issues with future scheduling and things of that nature. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be any ACC schools going to the SEC. I think right now the SEC is focusing on adding 2 teams. They could add some more. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to say no after what's happened here.
That's the question. How big could this ultimately end up? Because if ESPN, which has the television rights to the SEC starting in, 2023 or 2024, if they ultimately say, we will give you $1 billion for all this, which, I mean, we don't know how – I mean, ESPN is going to be able to write a check for anything that they want. And if money is dictating all of this, how much bigger could this be? I mean, are we looking at 20, 24, 32 teams in this conference, and it would be like a mini NFL?
Well, I mean, it could be, but I still am doubtful that that's going to happen. I mean, you never know. But I think that we've all thought that super conferences were likely. And I still think that, that the 3 to 4 conferences will survive out of this. I don't think the Big 12 will. I'm anxious to see, the reaction of the Pac-12. Are they going to start recruiting some of these other schools. I've heard TCU has reached out to the Pac-12 about potentially joining there. We've talked about how a few of those schools could end up out in the Pac-12 and when this is all said and done. I wouldn't be surprised if there was, when everything plays itself out, we could see 4 16-team conferences to that degree. I mean, but we'll we have to follow it and see what happens. But I do think when you look at the Big 12 of the Power 5 as they call them, even year to year they were the shakiest just because of their financial model. Oklahoma and Texas were bringing in more revenue. The other member institutions could not have been happy about that. That was going to continue to be behind the scenes probably a bone of contention. And then Texas and Oklahoma realizing, hey, look, and they've been basically in lockstep with this. We can go to the SEC and make even more money. Certainly we're doing very well financially, but the SEC and the check that they could write, the Big 12 can't match it, and they don't have a financial model to do so. And that's why I don't think the league will survive. They just don't have enough, the kind of media markets to attract a big television deal. I mean, they could certainly now have a more an SEC type plan, because the SEC, the one thing they do, Greg Sankey and the entire league, they share their revenue equally from
that they do.
1 through 14. Now, certainly the Big 12 could set that up, but I just don't think it's going to be financially feasible for all those teams to do and to stay there. And I think really, honestly, a lot of the teams within the Big 12 believe they could go somewhere else as well and make more money. So, it'll be interesting. If Bob Bowlesby can salvage the league, more power to him, but I just don't really see that happening right now.
All right, on Twitter, Al Copeland chiming in this morning. Best guess, when would Texas and Oklahoma games be played in the SEC? Next year, 2 to 3 years down the road? When's the best guess? I mean, if they want to pay the money, which is, I read, somewhere around $80 million, they could get out of this deal before the television rights end. But when do you think ultimately we see them in the conference?
It'll either be 2022 or 2023. I mean, I don't think it'll be any later than 23. It's certainly not going to be 25.
You don't think they're going to wait until the whole deal expires? They're going sooner.
I mean, they're going to work all this out sooner. That's just a formality. That's just what they had to do. And as far as just to dot the I's and cross the T's and things of that nature. But yeah, I do think they're going to find a way to get out of this and to pay it. They know within 2 years that money could be paid back as far as the $80 million from what they get from the SEC. And of course, the one thing from logistically from the SEC standpoint is scheduling. And so it's interesting that Alabama and Texas are playing a home-and-home starting next year. So those could be theoretically changed to SEC games, because we know people might as well just get ready for it. The SEC is going to a 9-game conference model. I mean, I know Mark Stoops wasn't happy about it, and he thought too many teams got beat up in the 10-game SEC gauntlet, but he and his university will be fine cashing $100 million checks every year. So they'll, you're just going to have to, adjust to that. And actually, with the 12-team playoff coming, and it's coming, it's going to be 12 teams. The SEC is positioning itself to get a third of the teams in the field. I mean, to get 4 teams and to set it up where even if you have 2 to 3 losses, you could end up making the college football playoffs. So, and that's what it's all about, trying to get to the playoff, trying to cash those big TV checks that you get. You get a huge cut of money from doing that. So that's what it's all about. It's all about the money, and just that's why the SEC is getting out ahead of this. And now we just have to see what the Big 12 tries to do. Can they stay together as a league, or will the league do as I believe and start to splinter and then be done?
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll continue to update you on the Olympics, as well as continue the football talk, plus get to your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Switching season is back at WOW. Get super fast, extra reliable Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowie.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
I'm going to tweet this out.
I've never seen you fanboy as hard as you did today, so congratulations.
I love this guy.
You kept your composure, but
I know
you fanboyed pretty hard.
I did. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not even a little bit not gonna say that. I mean, that to me is that's broadcasters are a thing for me.
Listen to the Big Dog weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Don't miss the savings during Lowe's Just for Pros event. Stop by the Pro Desk and get an extra 5% off volume savings orders over $1,500. Plus, look for more savings across the store, including tools, paint, lighting, and other pro essentials to help you get the job done right. Shop today at Lowe's, the new home for pros. Discount on eligible product only and reflected in quote. Terms and exclusions apply. See Pro Desk in store for details. Now through July 30th. U.S. only.
You know that there are some words that have really messed up our world. The devil, way back in Genesis, said, "Has God really said?" Unfortunately, we often listen to those words of the devil. We question God's word. We often doubt God's goodness, and we make a mess for ourselves and so many others. Hey, let's honor the word of God for what it is. It is God's word. Let's follow it and be blessed by it. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Got a wreck in Morgan County, Highway 67, your Gum Pond Road. That one's got an overturned vehicle, maybe an injury involved. Couple of stalls, northbound on the parkway near Maston Lake and 565 westbound near county line. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. Our free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. Hey, I'm on vacation.
Oh boy, welcome back. 7:45 on this Tuesday morning. 77 degrees. It was 71 degrees when we started the show. It's now 77. Going to be another warm day here in the Tennessee Valley. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We do have Team USA going for gold against Japan on the softball diamond right now. Bottom of the 6th. Team USA trying to dig themselves out of a 2-0 hole. No outs, runner at first, and Alabama standout Haley McClenny at the plate.
Yeah, she's basically been the spark plug for the American team. They really need something to go their way right now as Japan has made a pitching change. But as we said, it's getting late, and the American ladies need to make a move here. Haley, of course, from Mortimer Jordan High School, and then an All-American at the University of Alabama, and now an Olympian, one of the greatest players in the history of this state. And hopefully she can come through here and give the U.S. ladies a shot to make a stirring comeback. They're going to need one against a really good Japan team. As we said, this is the gold medal game.
All right, so other Olympic news from yesterday. Lydia Jacoby wins gold in the 100-meter breaststroke. She becomes the first person from Alaska to win gold in a swimming event. And just so you know how rare that is, there is only one swimming pool per 73,856 people in Alaska. Alaska is dead last in the U.S. in swimming pools per square mile. So Lydia Jacoby, I believe she's just going into her freshman year in college, wins gold there. Team USA women's basketball defeats Nigeria 81-72, so they are 1-0. That's better than the men. They've now won 50 in a row, going back to the 1992 Barcelona games. And the U.S. women's soccer team goes scoreless against Australia, but that's good enough to get them into the knockout stage just barely. So those some Olympic results from Tokyo. Curious if anybody's paying attention to the Olympics. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show this morning.
Haley McClenny striking out swinging, so the struggles continue for the United States ladies trying to get some offense going against this very fine pitching staff from Japan. It's just been very difficult for the U.S. If you've been following their journey since they got to Tokyo, they have struggled offensively. But of course, Japan. I think the U.S. and the Japan national team were probably the two favorites going into this. So no one's surprised that they're facing one another. And, it hasn't been an offensive showcase for either team. But, again, Japan right now, very, very difficult as what the U.S. is facing with these young ladies in the circle.
So 24/7 Sports had something. We talk a lot of recruiting on this show, and 24/7 Sports put something out I thought was pretty interesting. Maybe they put all the top recruits ever recruited by one school, and they listed the top recruit and how they fared once they got to the school. And it kind of was a stroll down memory lane a little bit for a lot of these programs. A lot of names that I hadn't heard in a long time. The highest recruit to come into Vanderbilt to this date was from the 2000 class, and that was Chris Young, a wide receiver. He caught 15 passes for 204 yards and 1 touchdown. That was his best season in 2003. He was part of the Woody Weidenhofer and Bobby Johnson era.
Woody Weidenhofer to Bobby Johnson. Yeah. That was the transition.
So as far as Alabama goes, Drew, they list the best recruit to play for Alabama as, hold on, I scrolled too far down. Andre Smith, offensive guard. That was the best recruit that they listed.
I mean, he was actually an offensive tackle. Whoever listed him as a guard needs to have a lobotomy. He never played a down of guard. He's never played a down of guard. He was from Huffman High School in Birmingham. He was really the number 2 overall player in the country and the top offensive lineman. He started from the first snap of his freshman year, which was 2006. And then, of course, 2007 and 2008, he played for Nick Saban's first 2 teams before becoming the number 6 pick in the NFL draft. And he's still active in the NFL. So he's had a long career, most of it with the Cincinnati Bengals. But he's later in his career, he's kind of bounced around a little bit. He has been with Baltimore, so he's, but he's always been a high-level player. And again, always been either a right or a left tackle, and so he's had when you get a chance to play a decade in the NFL, he's had a really remarkable career from the standpoint of being healthy. And he's a very good player and someone that was really the cherry on top of the 2006 recruiting class for Mike Shula.
Now they say Cyrus Kouandjio and Bryce Young all hold the same recruiting ranking number as Smith, but they say Smith was the number 1 player nationally, so that's why they're giving it to him. I guess you'd call it a tiebreaker. Justin Fields, Georgia, the best recruit ever for the. We all know Justin Fields' story.
Oh wow, and no doubt about it. I mean, Justin Fields, he had a rise to prominence. He and and Trevor Lawrence kind of became the number 1 and 2 prospects in the country coming out of the same state. So they've been compared to each other throughout their careers. Certainly Justin Fields had a bumpier ride. He started out at Georgia, never really got meaningful playing time until he went to Ohio State, but he put together 2 unbelievable years. And then Trevor Lawrence, we all know the 3 years he had at Clemson. So Fields has now, been a first-round pick in his own right. Trevor goes number 1 overall. Fields goes 11th overall to the Bears. Will he be able to solve the riddle? And that riddle being the Chicago Bears have not had a homegrown quarterback really since Jim McMahon that's played at a high level. They've struggled at the quarterback position. That's really why their franchise has been so up and down. Jay Cutler, they made a trade for him, but that didn't work out long term. They just have had a really tough time finding success at the quarterback position. And so we'll see. I mean, they've passed on Deshaun Watson in recent drafts, which came back to haunt them big time. Can Justin Fields, who has a similar skill set, kind of solve that riddle?
The highest profile recruit for Auburn they list is Byron Cowart.
Yeah,
he didn't quite work out well there at Auburn.
No, he ended up transferring to Maryland. But he certainly is still in the NFL now. He just never could really get traction with the Auburn Tigers. He was a top 5 overall national recruit as a defensive lineman, but we'll see. No doubt that he was a highly touted player, and sometimes you just can't, find your comfort zone when with a certain school, and you have to go basically restart your career, which he did, and he was able to salvage it quite nicely and get in the NFL. But he never did quite live up to that lofty ranking.
It's kind of interesting to go through some of these other names and just kind of look at them to see how they have panned out. Leonard Fournette, still the highest recruit in LSU history, running back. We all know what Leonard Fournette accomplished. Bryce Brown from Tennessee is the highest signee in Tennessee history, running back Bryce Brown. And then Myles Garrett from Texas A&M. Kentucky's Antonio Hall. And this one here, Drew, I did have to chuckle at because he grew up always wanting to be a rebel. Robert Kimdichie.
Yeah, Robert had probably had the best film of any junior I've ever seen coming out of Grayson, Georgia, the same high school that Owen Pappoe has come out of and become a great player at Auburn. But Robert Kimdichie, the production never matched the talent while he was at Ole Miss. I didn't think he got better as a senior either. I think maybe the pressure and or the accolades of being the number 1 overall player in the country got to him a little bit. The production didn't match what we saw as a junior, and he went to Ole Miss. He had bright moments, especially against the University of Alabama. He became a first-round draft choice of the Arizona Cardinals, but he's really barely hanging on in the NFL now and never got the proper development needed, I don't think. If he had gone to Alabama, I do think that he would have been and had the right mindset. He had the talent to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft and really had Hall of Fame ability. But, again, it's all about taking care of your business both on and off the field and being in the right program from a development perspective, and he was not. And so he followed his brother to Ole Miss and just did not end up becoming the force that he really could have been.
The top recruit from South Carolina, recruited by Shane Beamer, the current head coach, and that is Jadeveon Clowney.
Clowney did live up to it. I mean, he was considered a freak coming out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. He became a great player, an impact guy. Now, certainly he's been up and down in the NFL, but he's still been a really good player. He's a guy now with the Cleveland Browns trying to kind of get his career recranked. I thought he did have some really good years with the Houston Texans, and he and J.J. Watt were a force, but now he's moved on to other places. He didn't have the impact with the Tennessee Titans everyone hoped last year. He got injured, but still he is a very talented player, no doubt, and he's someone that, when you're thinking about South Carolina, he kind of defines that era with Marcus Lattimore and Stephon Gilmore and those, 11-win seasons they were able to come up with under Steve Spurrier.
All right, we are keeping an eye on Team USA and Japan in the gold medal softball game going on right now. Team USA had a great shot in the bottom of the 6th to get something going, and the break's just not going their way. Japan, I don't know how they managed to get out of that 6th inning, but they did with an amazing play there. Breaks just not going Team USA's way. Top of the 7th, Japan with a runner on first, 1 out. Monica Abbott in the circle. And Team USA has a little bit of work to do as we go on. We're about ready to wrap up hour number 1. So 256-576-4977 if you want to get in on the show this morning. You do have a little bit of time. Coming up at the top of the hour, though, Drew, we're going to get in a conversation with Barrett Jones, who lined up in an Alabama uniform. Be interesting to hear his side or his thoughts on Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, since he is true and true SEC in his blood.
Well, of course. I mean, he was one of the most decorated players in Alabama history, especially from an offensive line perspective. You're talking about someone that won the Remington Award as the best center in the country. Also was an outstanding left tackle at the University of Alabama, won the Outland Trophy. Was an outstanding right guard. I mean, he was the guy that started after he redshirted as a freshman all 4 years at the University of Alabama. He won a lot of football games for the University of Alabama. You know, he was part of that 2008 recruiting class that really changed everything about Alabama football under Nick Saban, and he was a part of 3 national championship teams at the university, and it'll be an honor to catch up with him. Now he's a renowned football analyst and color guy for ESPN, and we'll catch up with Barrett Jones. He's going to be featured tonight as one of the 2 speakers, along with Chris Stewart, for the Red Elephant Club of Madison County.
All right, guys, that's hour 1 in the books. Barrett Jones will kick off hour number 2 when we return on a Tuesday edition of Talking Ball. Stay safe, 77 degrees as you jumpstart your Tuesday.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck in Morgan County, Highway 67, your Gum Pond Road. That one's got an overturned vehicle, maybe an injury involved. Couple of stalls, northbound on the Parkway near Maston Lake and 565 westbound near County Line. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. Our free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Bend Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good majority of the afternoon. It is still going to be a hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. Heat indices anywhere between 100 and 105 degrees. We're only going to drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Rain should come to an end Tuesday night, early into Wednesday morning. Mostly to partly sunny skies through Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Coming into this morning, the United States and China were tied for the lead with 20 total medals. The U.S., China, and Japan each with 8 gold medals. Updated odds to win the most gold medals. The United States at minus 1,600, China plus 800, Japan plus 2,800. Women's all-around gymnastics odds, the United States minus 350, the Russian Olympic Committee plus 275, and China plus 1,400. The main event for this week's UFC Fight Night has the 8th-ranked middleweight Uriah Hall taking on the 11th-ranked Sean Strickland. Hall, the plus 175 underdog, Strickland at minus 220. Also on the main card, welterweight Brian Barberina at minus 260 against Jason Witt at plus 200.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 97.7ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is our Tuesday edition of 97.7 ESPN The Zone's Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. We've talked a lot about this college football move, this Texas, Oklahoma to the SEC. We've talked a lot about that. We've just coming off a very fun and eventful SEC Media Days last week. That means camp is just around the corner, and our next guest knows a thing or two about football camp, about playing the game, and the SEC as a whole.
Certainly does. Of course, he and his two brothers played at the University of Alabama. He was a standout, as we said, one of the most decorated offensive linemen, not just in SEC history, but really in college football history. Of course, that's not what, the only thing that drives him. He's certainly a Christ follower and one of the best people, not just in football, but just it's always an honor to speak with him and always an honor to see how he handles himself. I had a chance to meet him several years ago in 2017 in Starkville, Mississippi. I was in the press box for Alabama, Mississippi State. He had begun his broadcasting career as a color analyst for ESPN and has done that covering college football and the NFL. And as we said, a three-time national champion, someone that was so decorated in his career, as we said, starting at three different positions for the University of Alabama, winning the Werfel Trophy, the Outland Trophy, Jacobs Blocking Award, the Jim Parker Trophy, first-team All-SEC at multiple positions, and, of course, winning the Remington Award as a senior, his final game being a national championship win over the over Notre Dame, I should say. And then, of course, winning the academic Heisman, which is probably the highest honor and shows what an all-around great person this man is. But he will be featured tonight as the speaker for the Madison County Red Elephant Club, and it's an honor to have Barrett Jones join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Barrett, you're with Drew and Scott here in Huntsville, Alabama on 97.7 The Zone. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are we doing? I might have to bring you along tonight for that introduction. I appreciate that thorough recounting.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to hit everything. I mean, you were so decorated as a player, and but of course, and I've had a chance to speak with you, in Starkville, and then I know you're a big part of Ryan Fowler's show in Tuscaloosa, and I've had the honor of speaking with you when I've been on that program. But we really appreciate you for taking the time out, and another football season is upon us, Barrett. But your thoughts on really, I guess we'll jump right in with Texas and Oklahoma. That was kind of the biggest story coming out of SEC Media Days last week. This league looks like it's going to expand again. You were part of it, as the SEC has continued to grow since your playing days. But your thoughts on the potential addition of two programs of that stature?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I thought this would happen at some point. I am surprised the news came out this early. But, look, I think at the end of the day, the SEC has been very fortunate that they've had some visionary guys, leading them. And Greg Sankey is certainly one of those, and has done a fantastic job of kind of being able to see what's next. And I think that, the reality is now that football, and certainly SEC football, it's big business, really, really big business. I mean, when you're talking about some of these revenues now, over $1 billion is what they're estimating, 1.3 or whatever. The estimate was of the revenue that the SEC will create with Texas and Oklahoma in it. And so, the reality is now it's you got to be constantly looking for mergers and acquisitions to continue to improve your brand, because if you stay in the status quo, you understand that other people won't do that. And so, if the SEC hadn't have made this move, if Oklahoma and Texas were right for the picking, then someone else would have. And so, yeah, I think it's ultimately, I don't know how it affects the sport as a whole. That's a whole different question that we'll kind of have to see how it plays out, because I think that some of these other conferences are going to follow suit. But I think certainly the SEC is in a very strong position for the future. And look, I get, I'm kind of I love the tradition, the history, the rivals, the way things were. I'm sentimental as well. But, the reality is I think this will create more great football games. And so from that standpoint, I'm excited about the product the SEC will create, and I think it'll be really fun.
Barrett, is this an indirect correlation to the fact that there was expanding of the playoffs, name, image, and likeness? If all of that wasn't on the table, do you think this expansion still happens, or was this the inevitability, or was this the future path of college football anyway?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I've thought about that. It's hard to separate the two, and it almost seems like in some ways college football has quit denying that it's big business, and now they've just kind of thrown off that cloak and fully embraced the fact that, okay, this is a business. Let's run it like one, and let's go out there and, see who we can buy on the open market. And I do think that those two things are related at the very least, just kind of subconsciously, as to how everyone's approaching it. I think that more and more football programs, really over the last decade or two, you've seen have started to been run more like businesses. They've hired people to come in and run these giant behemoths, creating these massive revenue dollars and figuring out how to maximize it. And so, I do think that it's all interconnected, and I'm excited too about the NIL, and I think that that'll be another exciting opportunity, obviously for the players more so than the university. So there's definitely a lot happening right now in college football. What will it look like in 10 years? I honestly have no idea. I certainly hope that all these changes don't adversely affect the future of the sport. I don't think there's really any way to tell. I know that's the big question right now is, what will this look like? I have no idea. And anyone that says they do, I would say that they're just guessing. And so, it will be interesting to see how it all pans out. Will it be different? I think certainly. It'll certainly be different. The attitude of the player, it's already changing, but certainly it's going to be different when you have guys making $1 million. That's just inevitable. I can tell you that from firsthand experience in the NFL locker rooms, that when you have guys starting to make that kind of money, it's going to change things. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, there's certainly going to be pros and cons. All the super conferences, is that a bad thing? We'll probably get to see some great games as fans. Some of the tradition and history and the rivalries will be lost. There's just so many pros and cons to each one. We're just going to have to see how it all shakes out.
Well, and Barrett, I know, of course, you played for Nick Saban. Your recruiting class really had kind of helped start this dynasty that we've seen that's kind of been unmatched in college football, and you were a part of 3 national championship teams. But one of the biggest strengths for Coach has been able to change and kind of be ahead of the curve, so to speak. Your thoughts on how you think he'll approach name, image, and likeness? From what we are understanding, he has taken on this thing head on. Some coaches we've seen on the basketball side didn't seem to want to deal with the transfer portal and this coming name, image, and likeness situation. They're retiring, getting out of the game. It almost seems to rejuvenate Coach Saban. But talk about how you expect him to handle that, and of course what we've already seen him start taking advantage of the transfer portal.
Well, I think if you're going to boil Nick Saban's all of his great characteristics, down into what one of his best ones is, I think his adaptability has to be right up there. And he's incredibly visionary, and I think when you're that successful, it takes a certain level of humility to be able to adapt that I think a lot of great coaches don't have. I think you've seen a lot of great coaches that have had periods of success where they've done things a certain way. It's worked really well. But then eventually, over time, the game kind of has passed him by. We have not seen that with Coach Saban. In fact, you can even make the argument that his teams have gotten more dominant over the years because he has continued to adapt. He's always pushing the envelope. I could literally talk for 20 minutes on examples of that, whether it's offensively when he hired Lane Kiffin and changed the identity of Alabama offense, where we went from just kind of dominating possession to really being on the forefront of now offensive creativity, where people go and figure out what Alabama's doing offensively. That would have been laughable, 10 years ago. And so it's that, and then, the way his defense has changed as far as their size and, all the different schematics that's done there. But you're right. It's more than just that. It's also off the field and how he's pushed the envelope there. And, he's always been heavily in favor of the player. And, also, let's be honest, heavily in favor of whatever is going to help continue to help him be dominant. And I think he's great at reading the letters on the wall and understanding, hey, this is coming, and I can either embrace it and kind of be a trailblazer of what it's going to look like in a program, which I think Alabama has. And I think they'll continue to hire more people. Certainly they have the money to do it to help these guys manage these different situations and help them maximize their opportunities, because I think over the next few years, that's what the players are going to want. They're going to want universities that are helping them maximize their off-the-field opportunities, and the schools that are working together with the players, to take advantage of these NIL rules. So certainly that's what I expect from Alabama, and the brand itself is powerful. That's obvious, and with the resources they have to help these guys get it done, I think that will absolutely be an asset for Alabama going forward.
Barrett Jones joining us on the Niebuhr's Wealth Management Hotline this morning, and you talk about how much of an innovator Nick Saban is. He's also been one of the advocates of an extended SEC schedule. He wants those 9 games. He wants those 10 games. We saw 10 games last year. If Texas and Oklahoma come in, we probably could see 9 games. You played in the SEC. 9 games, 10 games. Would you want that?
Well, I don't know. I think, again, it's all interconnected. It's less and less about what I want. And if the players are starting to be able to make money, I think that gives them maybe a little less complaining, too, of like, hey, look, this is what you asked for. Now, don't be surprised if the schools are also going to try to maximize their money. And I am in favor of a 9-game schedule. I think it would be better. I think that the reality is this is going maybe a little bit further than you wanted to go. But that right now, the American viewer, and you're seeing it with the Olympics right now with the ratings, there's just so many options of what to watch. I mean, there's so much going on. You have so much on demand and recorded Netflix and all these different streaming services that, college football for so long has kind of relied on just the tradition and history of the brand to just pull viewers in, and it was just almost an automatic. And I do think that's something that as college football as a whole, we should not take for granted. We should understand that the change that we've seen come in other sports, it will come to college football eventually if we don't continue to improve the product. And so, as a player, do I want to play an extra SEC game? Yeah, probably not. Do I want to play all these extra playoff games? Probably not. But ultimately, I want to see college football thrive, and I do think that a 9-game schedule can help that because I just think the amount of people that are willing to watch Alabama against UT Chattanooga, there's going to be less and less. Even the most diehard Alabama fans, when you have so many options of what's going on and what you're able to watch, and only so much time. So I think we're going to see less and less of those games. And again, you could discuss the ripple effects of what that's going to be over the next decade. I think it'll certainly be detrimental for some of those smaller schools because those are big paydays they rely on. But ultimately, it's about what people want to see, and people don't want to see those games. They want to see more marquee matchups, and a 9-game schedule is a step in the right direction of doing that.
Certainly is. We're talking to Barrett Jones, ESPN college football analyst, former University of Alabama All-American and 3-time national champion. And Barrett, I mean, your thoughts on a 12-team playoff? I was in favor of 8. I'm a little bit leery of 12, but as we see this conference realignment begin, I think that's another reason we're going to see this because more and more leagues are going to try to set themselves up where maybe you don't have to go undefeated or lose one game. Multiple losses will still, especially with the strength of a conference like the SEC, will still allow you to make it. But your thoughts on an expanded playoff?
Well, look, I think that Greg Sankey, who I know really well, he's just incredibly intelligent, and I've kind of gotten to where I guess inherently just trust him and that he knows what he's doing. And so, when this 12-team thing was announced, I did understand obviously how on its face it would be better for the SEC, but there's no doubt in my mind that obviously this Texas-Oklahoma thing's been going on for a while. You guys know that this thing don't just happen, and they don't come out usually unless there's some kind of major leak until they're pretty much already a done deal. So this thing's done. It's been done for a while, probably. Most likely that's how these things normally work, unless something drastic changes. And I think that the 12-team playoff the agreements were made, and that's from all the reports. The SEC was kind of leading that push for the 12 teams instead of 8. With the mindset of having 16 teams in their conference, and so I get it a little bit more now. Am I excited again about the fact that players will have to play more games? No, but it certainly will be fun. And look, I also recognize that I do want college football to continue to be a national sport and not a regional sport. And maybe this will help it, maybe it won't. We'll see. I think that there's still a lot more to come in way of expansion and maybe the Pac-12, Big Ten, maybe they make moves. And so I think it will all shake up. And again, it will be very interesting to look and see when all the dust settles how it works and how they'll have to adapt the playoff, to make it work. There's a lot to come, and I think they're going to have to figure it out. But ultimately, I look, I think that I don't think we're going to see necessarily a huge change in the number of teams, or the amount of the names of the teams that end up in the finals, at least for the near future. But certainly we'll see some more exciting games.
How excited. We saw Bryce Young in some backup moments last year. We really didn't get to see him do the full offense, do the full Bryce Young thing. How excited are you? Is there an anticipation in wanting to see what Bryce Young will bring to the table as a quarterback under Bill O'Brien now?
Well, I'm very excited. I think certainly he's got a lot of talent, and there's a lot of excitement coming out of camp. Seems like he's doing things the right way, and people like him. So, hey, he's a millionaire. I mean, that's not bad.
No.
According to Coach Davis, that's not a bad way before you ever taking a meaningful snap. But that's, again, we'll see how that all pans out. But yeah, I think Bryce is got all the potential in the world, and Bill O'Brien is going to put him in a position to be successful. He's got a lot of talent. Obviously, lost some good receivers, but there's still plenty of talent that he'll be able to throw to. And I think John Mechie has a chance to have a enormous year. That's not a big call or anything. I know a lot of people think that, but I think he is very impressive and has a chance to be the best wide receiver in the country. So I'm excited about the offense. Bill O'Brien, that's going to be interesting to me to see how he adapts and what it looks like, and how much of the stuff they kind of keep from Steve Sarkisian. Obviously, something that was so successful last year, and what they add, and really what the identity of the offense is. That's kind of when I start watching a coordinator and an offense, you kind of figure out what their identity is and who they are. And the RPO has been such a big part really for the past few years of the offense. I wonder if that will continue to be a big part, or if it'll be something else. So, yeah, it's always fun, and you're never exactly sure. The spring game means nothing. I always tell people you can really learn almost nothing from a spring game, maybe other than just if someone is terrible. But I think that it's going to be exciting, and Bryce Young has every chance to be successful. Ultimately, though, look, the reality is I don't think you can ever fully know, especially with a quarterback, what they're going to be like until you see them and start a game in meaningful action. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the history of college football who looked awesome in mop-up duty, and you gave them the ball, and it's totally different. I mean, the quarterback is so much about decision making. Certainly, talent helps, but there's just so many decisions to be made in the game. It's hard to replicate that in practice, and so. When the lights come on, it all looks and feels a little bit different when you first get out there as a starter. And you got to kind of figure out what does this guy look like when the lights come on. So, I think that certainly he's got a chance to be successful, but ultimately we won't really know until we see him in game action.
Yeah, and Barrett, my final question for you, and we appreciate the time and look forward to hearing you speak this evening at the Madison County Red Elephant Club. It's going to be an honor to have you as part of that event along with Chris Stewart. But I know, to look back on last season just a little bit, you talked about what we're going to see the identity of this Alabama football team, but the identity of that team last year. I know Mac Jones threw for a lot of yards. Devontae Smith was unbelievable, and Najee Harris, but it was really the offensive line, and that was really the identity of the 2012 group as well, which I know those two offensive lines get compared to each other a lot. But talk about your thoughts on the team. I wanted to get your thoughts on the year last year before we wrap things up with you.
Well, you're saying my thoughts on
the two, just kind of comparing them. You were a part of a great group. All those guys went on to the NFL, and then that was another group I thought that was really the tone setter for the team last year.
Well, you're right. I thought that was far and away the best offensive line in college football last year, and they were just such an awesome unit. Very, very complete group. I loved watching them. I thought the leadership of guys like Landon Dickerson was incredible. The offensive line is such a unique position, and again, this is not something I can talk about for 20 minutes because it's possible to have 5 good players and not have a great offensive line. And last year they had 5 good players, but they also just had incredible chemistry together, and the attitude that they brought to the table was awesome to watch. And you're right, they did set the tone and enabled really everything else to be possible. And so, yeah, I think that's for this year, there's certainly some question marks. There's a lot of talent coming back, but there's certainly some question marks for some different spots along the offensive line. There's a ton of young, talented guys that have gotten in there over the last few years, particularly this last recruiting class, that I'm anxious to see if any of them will end up sliding in. But yeah, I think that certainly there are big shoes to fill when you lose the three type of guys that they did along that offensive line. Obviously, Evan Neal is the guy who's returning, as well as Emil Ekiyor. But I think Evan Neal will have the chance to be one of the best offensive tackles in the country and kind of anchor that unit. But there's some other spots that you got to kind of fill in and see how they're going to shake out. And so that's always one of the first things I watch. And every year especially when you have a lot of new guys, the recipe is usually the same. There'll be some sloppy play early. People start panicking. But then by the end of the year, you see a lot of improvement and the group really solidifies. So that's kind of what I expect from this group, is that there might be some bumps along the way, but I think they have a chance to be really good with all the talented guys that they have in that room.
Well, Barrett, it's been an honor to have you. We look forward to hearing you speak tonight. Safe travels to our community. Continued success as a broadcaster for ESPN, and of course, continuing to get your message as a man of God to everyone out there. We admire your career and the person that you are, and we certainly have been honored to have you on this morning. Thank you for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Barrett Jones joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good conversation there. We got to get to a break, though, because Keith Niebuhr, man, we talk about Barrett Jones being busy. He's going to be busy this fall. But Keith Niebuhr.
Last 48 hours or so.
Yeah.
It's, just watch his Twitter account. He's been on his feet with his ear to the ground. Auburn had their Big Cat weekend this past Sunday, their event, and he has been a busy, busy guy. And we're going to talk some Auburn recruiting with Keith next here on ESPN's 97.7 The Zone Talkin' Ball.
See you back.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
That wreck on Highway 67 in Morgan County near Gum Pond Road is our only working accident. That one had an overturned vehicle. Lots of fog this morning, and we had a couple of stalls. They should be clearing, though, northbound on the Parkway near Maston Lake, 565 westbound near County Line. Popeye's three-piece snack is only $4.99. 3 pieces of that crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit at Popeye's, University and George, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor. Half man, half motorcycle. In life, there is no stopping. But if you do, make sure no one is behind you. Progressive Motorcycle also presents basic policy starting at $79 a year. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy is not available in all states.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale this Friday online at 977ESPN.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575. 888-848-9255.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
I want to thank you. Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We got to get to Keith Niebuhr to talk some Auburn recruiting, but if you're following Alabama recruiting, coming up today at 5 o'clock, Drew, Kobe Prentice will announce his intentions, Alabama wide receiver target.
Yeah, he's a guy that's been a fast riser this summer, had 2 outstanding camps at Alabama from Calera High School. He's from the same school, Jason Jones, now at Oregon, for Mario Cristobal. Came out of there. He clocked a 4.38 at Alabama's camp. He really projects more as a slot guy, perhaps a kick returner, but he's very explosive, and he had been committed to Mike Loxley in Maryland. He decommitted and now is going to set up an announcement at 5 o'clock Central Time today, and strongly we believe Alabama is out in front here, but we are going to let the young man have his decision later today, and we will be monitoring that for you. So please be following our social media. We are going to keep you aware of that. But our next guest is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and man, he has been a busy guy. His Twitter account, as always, very active. He was on the ground for Big Cat Weekend and the Big Cat event on Sunday for Auburn, and they got a huge commitment from their top running back target, and now have set the stage for potentially several additions to come in the next few days. But of course, it's always great to catch up with our next guest, and he's also a huge golf aficionado that we talk golf with as well, and that's Keith Niebuhr of 24/7 Sports. Keith, I hope you've had a great weekend. I know it's been a busy one for you, but thank you for taking some time out. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It hasn't been that too bad. There's just moments where things are happening all at once, but overall it's nothing. I mean, gosh, you guys know me. I mean, people out there do have real jobs. I can't complain. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Auburn coming off Big Cat Weekend. I guess was there a lot of speculation whether or not Brian Harsin would have Big Cat Weekend, and there were a lot of names though that did attend the one-day event.
Yeah, as a staff, you kind of always want to do things your own way, and Brian Harsin and a few of his guys were coming from the West Coast or out west, the Northwest. And maybe they thought, okay, let's do it our way. But as June came and went, and, I think they saw the challenges that you faced in the South. It's not just getting kids to your school, but then trying to land them. The competition is just so fierce. I mean, they're not used to that, obviously. So, you adjust, you adapt. And normally Big Cat Weekend, which really kind of set the stage for all these big recruiting weekends across the country. I mean, Auburn was the first one to have a blowout of that type. Usually was Memorial Day weekend, but that came and went, and Auburn said, maybe we do need to do something like this. Maybe we do need to keep this going. So they had that event Sunday, and I think there were over a dozen 4-star recruits, dozen recruits with 4-star ratings or above that made it. So it was a successful. In that regard, normally you don't land too many commitments that day, guys. It's about building, laying the groundwork for future commitments. And so one guy committed to Damari Alston, 4-star running back out of Atlanta, but a few other kids that are going to have decisions soon were there. And again, that's kind of you hammering the nail down, you know what I mean, put the finishing touches on things, and then also getting young kids there to build for the future, to get to know these guys. Because this staff, as you guys know, and everybody listening, they had to play catch up when they got to Auburn. They were way behind, and way behind in terms of relationships. And sure, there was a 15-month extended dead period, and so schools couldn't visit Alabama, Georgia, Florida, all their competition. But that still gave those coaching staff so much more time to get to know the young guys via telephone, Zoom, all that stuff. So now next year, when June comes around next year, the spring comes around next year, Auburn won't be as far behind. They should be caught up by then. So they needed something like this. So really, this was maybe even more about getting the younger guys on campus than to work on the current class.
Yeah, and then, of course, but that big addition, we talked about it. You guys were all over it at 24/7 Sports. And speaking of relationships, retaining Cadillac Williams as running back coach, I'm sure really helped in this situation. But talk about the addition of Damari Alston and kind of what that means to Auburn, because it's pretty significant when you can get the number one running back out of Georgia and get him committed this early as a big piece of this class.
Well, they really locked in on a few linebackers, a few running backs.
Right.
This cycle, they weren't really, you started with a handful of guys. Emmanuel Henderson, who ended up at Bama, was a guy they really liked and felt they were going to get at one time. But it just ultimately worked out where this was the guy that kind of fell toward Auburn. Not fell. I don't know how to say this. I don't know. It just happened. I can't even get the words out right now. But he was close with Cadillac Williams, and Cadillac retaining him was significant because people do like him, and what they really like about him is that he's so humble. And I don't know if you two have ever met him, but he's a guy that was just everything at Auburn and rookie of the year in the NFL, and he's got less of an ego than some of the people in sports writing who never played a down of anything. It's amazing. But what Damari Alston said was, this guy's been there and done that. He's done the things I want to do, and I feel like he can help me get to where he was. And that's something that Cadillac's always been able to sell. And then obviously the family thing that Auburn still, from one staff to the next, again, that's one of their big things. Or they really do try to harp on that this is more than just football here. This is a family, and I think that was big for Damari too. And he made the trip over with his family, and it was pretty emotional for them. Obviously, it's a big day. Now here's the real key: he's very popular with other recruits, and so Auburn's hopeful that, okay, now this is a guy that can help them on the recruiting trail, that can help them with other kids. People like talking to this kid. He's cool. He's hip. His dad's in the music industry. And so that's cool to kids too. You know what I mean? So he's got a lot of things working in his favor other than just being a pretty good player. So it was a good pickup for Auburn. They needed it. I mean, this class is slowly coming together. It's in the 60s in the rankings now. It was in the 80s. Certainly not where we're used to seeing Auburn, but again, there's some big announcements coming up. I mean, you probably will see Auburn in the top 50 within the next couple of weeks. And again, long way to go, but it's better than where they were. And I feel like they think they've gotten over some of the speed bumps and some of the challenges earlier in the cycle. But it's still going to be an interesting class. And they've still got a lot of work to do.
Well, obviously there's a lot of needs for them. Is there a certain area where you see them trying to target right now?
Well, you're right. A lot of need. So if you look at the Auburn roster right now, and it's interesting because think about all the turnover they're going to have over the next couple of years. Just after this next season, here's some of the guys that could leave for the NFL: Jacoby McClain, Owen Popo, Smoke Monday, Roger McCreary. A lot of their best players. Then the year after that, Bo Nix, Hank Bigsby. So there's a lot to replace. So basically what I'm saying is they've got big needs everywhere. But I guess you would say offensive line because that's really, I think people thought that was going to be the weakness of the team this season. And I believe that the group kind of surprised the coaching staff a little bit in the spring, better than what they thought. Certainly not an elite offensive line unit like Auburn wants to have and probably should have, but not as bad as they thought. Receiver is an area where they really want to upgrade, but offensive line, I mean, they've got to they've got to kind of get that back into the upper echelon of the SEC like it was 2013, 2014 when you had multiple guys get drafted, first round picks, second round picks. So that's probably the main area. But then you start saying, well, who are the top targets? And most of the top offensive linemen have already committed. So we had an interesting note today. Josh Connerly is a 5-star kid out of Washington State. Auburn's working to try to get him to visit. He might visit. I mean, that's an elite guy that could probably come in, push for a starting job in year one. Another kid to watch is Drew Bobo, son of Auburn's offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. He's down to Auburn in Georgia, visited Auburn on Sunday. He's going to visit Georgia this next week and then have a decision. It's interesting. It's the school his dad works at now against the school his dad was once the starting quarterback at. But Drew's not a tackle; he's a guard. Tackle is such an important. I mean, guys, it's just been. I'd say dating back to 2018, they just haven't had much success on the recruiting trail on the offensive line. Just not what you're used to seeing. So they're working hard to change that. But again, they were playing catch up when they got here, so it's taken some time. You could see Auburn hit the portal, and I think this is what's going to happen. Hit the portal again after this next season for some offensive line fill-ins, and then from there try to start building, from the ground up on the offensive line. But they're not going to be content. They're going to go out and get guys that they feel like they can plug right in, and that's what the portal will do for you, obviously.
And then we're talking to Keith Niebuhr, 24/7 Sports, Auburn Undercover, talking some Tiger recruiting this morning on Talkin' Ball. And Keith, I know, as you said, one of the things that happens after the Big Cat weekend event, you've talked about decisions being made by young men and moving them up. Drew Bobo is one to watch. And I know a guy that Damari Alston has been pursuing on Twitter, and he's been someone that Auburn's been heavily involved with, is Caden Story. And his announcement, I think, is coming up between Auburn and UCF on August the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, he had other big offers, a lot of Power 5 offers, but he was really tight with the staff at UCF because, so many of those guys came from Auburn. And this is people that know the Story family. And remember, he's got a brother, Christian, that plays at Alabama. They're very family-oriented. And so they felt so much comfort with Gus Malzahn and the guys he took down to guys and ladies he took down to UCF that has really allowed UCF to become a major factor here. But we think at the end of the day he's going to end up likely going to Auburn. And again, that's a guy, a big-time, strong side defensive end, could grow into a tackle. He's a really big kid, so we're going to have to see how he develops that first year in college. But I love Auburn's chances there. He announces August 1st, so that's coming up. And then August 4th, an in-state player that you all probably know about, Jacoby Albert from Fairfield, he's going to announce, and we like Auburn's chances there over Michigan and Maryland. So, and then you mentioned Drew Bobo. So those are some guys right there. There's also defensive linemen in Louisiana we're keeping an eye on, Maxie Baudin and Bodwin. I can't pronounce his last name. And so, I think Auburn's going to have a few more commitments by the time the season rolls around. So, I mean, it's slowly coming together, and I think we're going to look up in September, and they're going to be, they're going to have, 15 commitments. I mean, they're just going to start coming in. They're at 7 now, could be at 10 in the next couple of weeks. And it's not, I don't know if they're ever going to have that rush of commitment, all at one time like some schools have, but they're slowly putting things together. And if you can fill all your needs, then that's the most important thing. And people always ask me, where could this class end up being ranked? It's too early to tell. But if I had to guess, maybe in that 17, 18 to 22 range. So not your typical top 10 Auburn class. But again, given the challenges of coming in when they did, and I don't think that would be bad. Again, you're looking to fill your needs, and you're looking for difference makers, potential difference makers. So we'll see. So they've got a long way to go, but they're going to be in some battles. And I think what's going to happen is once they start playing guys, people are going to visit them. When you visit, you start liking a school more. They're going to flip some guys. I mean, it always happens. I mean, I'll tell you a kid that they made some progress with, 2 kids they made some progress with Sunday at Big Cat. 4-star receiver Amari Kelly out of Hewitt-Trussville, obviously a Bama target as well. They feel like they really moved up with him. They feel like they're now a factor with him. We'll see. And then another one is Marquez Dortch, 4-star cornerback out of Mississippi, who's committed to Ole Miss. So now that's a 3-team battle, Ole Miss, Auburn, and Miami. That was his first visit to Auburn. He plans to come back. So, again, laying the groundwork. And you start getting guys like that, and all of a sudden your class starts looking a lot better, okay? So we'll have to see how it goes. Again, once they start getting kids to visit for games, that's usually when they can kind of make some real headway.
Yeah. So the message to Auburn fans right now, just be patient.
Yeah, but look, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I know it's going to be a top 10 class and it's going to be great. It's going to be all roses and sunshine. We don't know. We don't know, but because we don't know, there's no point in panicking. You know what I mean? These guys, they didn't forget how to recruit. Half the staff we don't know much about as recruiters. They came from either smaller schools or from out of Boise, but you got guys like Cadillac Williams, Mike Bobo, the OC, Will Friend, the offensive line coach, Derek Mason, the defensive coordinator. A lot of these guys have been around the block, okay? They didn't just wake up one day and not remember how to recruit. So it just takes time. A staff has to build cohesion. Kids have to get to know these guys. I mean, it's been a battle. It's been a major challenge, but I feel like things look better now than they did 2 weeks ago. And so maybe 2 weeks from now, they're going to look a lot better than they do right now. You just got to keep moving upward. That's the key.
No doubt. And my final question for Keith Niebuhr and this morning, we haven't spoken with you since he committed, but for the fans that are listening out there, give us a little bit of background on a commitment they got recently. Jay Fair committed around on 4th of July, I believe, the Texas receiver to Auburn.
Yeah, now that's a guy that's a high 3-star that could end up being a 4-star. I think he's like 5'11", 180 in that range. Really fast. I mean, that's the thing, really fast. I think his best 100 is in the 10.5 range, 10.5 seconds. That's good. His best 40 is sub 4.5. I mean, his dad told me sub 4.4. So 4.4, 4.5. He's fast, basically. Averaged, 20 yards a catch last year in Texas. One thing we know about Texas receivers, they're used to catching the ball. They understand passing offenses. And that was a good win for Auburn because they got him over in-state TCU and Florida. Also, at one point, Texas A&M had recruited him fairly heavily. Ohio State was involved. So he's a legitimate player. Again, super fast, though. That's what they need. And kind of a slot guy. He can do a lot of things. He's good after the catch. He's, it's a really solid pickup, I think, for Auburn. I mean, you never know until they get there, obviously, but he sure looks pretty good on film. A few of our readers have compared him to Christian Kirk, who, a one-time Auburn target from Arizona, plays in the NFL now. Just a kind of electric player who I think could be bound for a move up in the rankings at some point.
Well, great stuff, Keith. You do an outstanding job covering Tiger recruiting. Let everybody know how they can connect with you, and we know there's going to be a lot of information continuing to flow out of this Big Cat event from this past weekend.
Yeah, just at Keith247 Sports on Twitter, but really all the action's at auburnundercover.com.
Thanks, Keith. We
thanks,
really
Keith.
appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, take care, guys.
All right, Keith Niebuhr joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good Auburn insight there to the recruiting. A lot of people, and it was a topic down at SEC Media Days on the slow recruiting of Brian Harsin. It kind of floated around. Yeah. Let's get our final break in. When we come back, we'll have our tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hit deep toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksrestaurante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Drinking coffee straight from the pot. Power move. Wearing Power Move. Switching to super fast, extra reliable internet from WOW? Power move. Switch and save with WOW Internet for just $19.99 a month. It's switching season, so make a move with our best deal of the year. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
We're beginning to wind things down quickly now. I don't see anything new accident-wise. It looks like most everybody is going to be in very close to on time this morning. You be careful as you make the last of that dash in. Snelling has immediate need for a medical office admin, must have scheduling and insurance verification experience. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Normally, this should be your tomorrow's headlines today, and but we're going to get to it anyway. Normally, it's Tuesday. And that is usually when Jordy, our good friend Jordy, helps us with our headlines. But he is having a root canal this morning.
Not fun.
And so,
just like the root canal that the U.S. softball team took as they got whipped 2-0 by Japan to lose.
They settle for the silver medal in the Olympics.
For the young ladies.
Among Jordy's headlines that he was going to have us, we kind of discussed a little bit on this, but he says Alabama wins the CBS Best in College Sports by over 100 points. CBS Sports did a Best in College Sports competition. Alabama claims the award for the 2021 athletic season. And then USA Today's Blake Topmeyer is suggesting the SEC breaks off into its own super league of 20 to 24 teams with a 6-team playoff. And I don't think that'll happen.
Shut up. That's ignorant. Oh, my Lord. Your own playoff. Be quiet.
But our good friend Jake Crane.
It was great connecting with him, by the way,
yes.
And seeing him in person at SEC Media Days.
Now, you were busy. You were busy at SEC Media Days going up and down. Now, Jake Crane.
No, he got in the most steps, man.
Jake Crane got in the most steps, I think, of anybody I've seen.
Then, yeah. But like he told me, he goes, he coached football for 9 years, like on the high school and college level, so he's always moving, and he doesn't like to sit. And he certainly didn't sit much at SEC Media Days.
But he is reporting something interesting between the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
And it's something that I've speculated on. That's what I've been saying. And, he says they're hearing from a very good source that the Big 12 and the Pac-12 will merge. But here's the situation. that Kansas and Texas Tech will not be asked to make the move, and all that tells you is they're in negotiations with another league. I would think that it would be the Big Ten, but of course Kevin Warren probably doesn't know because he doesn't even know what the hell's going on half the time. But I just
he does. He said he would do it all over again if he could.
If Kansas and Texas Tech aren't going to the Pac-12 potentially with the rest of their brethren, I would think that that they're probably headed to the Big Ten. That would be the big, and we've seen a lot of speculation. The speculation at first was about Iowa State and Kansas, but this would be Texas Tech and Kansas. And right now, of the teams remaining, Scott, they're probably, along with Baylor, the three best basketball schools, Baylor being the defending national champion, but Baylor, I would assume, would be involved in the move to the Pac-12.
Sam Kahn Jr., who writes for The Athletic, he covers college football and recruiting in the state of Texas, has just reported that the Texas Board of Regents has called a special meeting for Friday. The discussion and possible appropriate action regarding athletic contracts and athletic conference membership matters is on the agenda. And then he also says, so is the approval of contracts for the new men's hoop staff. So all of a sudden that has kind of taken a back seat to everything else that is going on with the University of Texas. All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And you can get in on the show this morning if you want to. 256-576-4977. Going on right now, I'm just kind of looking at everything, trying to stay up to date, though, on the Olympics. Some medals that are being handed out. The U.S. Equestrian wins silver in the team dresses. The softball team has taken silver in the softball diamond. And if you don't want to know, if you're going to watch it tonight on NBC, don't pay attention to what I am about to say. But if you are driving around and you don't plan to watch the Olympics tonight, then you'll be okay. But Team USA took silver in the women's gymnastics competition. Simone Biles again exiting the competition. That was the big story to start the show. She exited the team competition from Team USA, did not compete, and she said with a mental issue, Simone Biles pulled out of the team competition. And so that means Auburn signee Sunisa Lee will head to Auburn with at least a silver medal. She is signed to be a part of the Auburn gymnastics team this coming fall. So they will have a silver there. Training camp officially starts tomorrow, Drew, for the Tennessee Titans. We'll get our first chance to see the Tennessee Titans. That means the first chance for Julio Jones to be on the field officially as training camp opens for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Julio and his new digs with Tennessee and Nashville. A lot of expectations now with Julio coming in, no doubt about it. But it's going to be one of the bigger stories in the NFL because their time is now. They've got Derrick Henry under contract. They've got Julio Jones now. They've made several deals. Of course, it didn't work out with the Jadeveon Clowney last year. They've still really got to try to find a way to improve that pass rush, but they certainly are going for it. And speaking of the Titans, we didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday, but huge shout out and kudos to Monty Rice, former James Clemens star, who has now signed officially with them as a third-round pick. I still think I wouldn't be surprised if he got on the field quite a bit as a rookie. Very, very high football IQ, high character young guy, and should be a really nice addition to that Titans defense. And I really think overall when you think about the Titans and their outlook, if they can keep if Ryan Tannehill can continue to stay healthy and produce along with that running game, and then keep Taylor Lewan in the OL intact and healthy, I think with their offensive weapons, with A.J. Brown and Julio, that can be as good a duo as there is in the NFL from a receiver standpoint. And then you also take into account Derrick Henry in that running game. The Titans have got a chance to have a really nice year, and I think challenge for that division and then make a deep playoff run. And that was the whole, motivation behind bringing in someone like Julio Jones, who's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder after how things ended in Atlanta.
All right, some more NFL news as we get ready to wrap up the show. Aaron Rodgers has arrived at Lambeau Field. He did so a little bit earlier this morning as the standoff between he and the Packers has come to an end. Aaron Rodgers has reported to the Green Bay Packers. So.
Yeah, with that contract restructuring, they're very likely setting it up for Aaron Rodgers' exit after this coming season. But certainly he is going to try to win a Super Bowl in his swan song with the Green Bay Packers. They've restructured his contract and voided it for the next season in 2023. They tried to sign him to a very lucrative extension. He was not interested in doing that. I think he would like to control his own fate. Now he does, and that Packer team is very talented. So going to be interested to see, the kind of year they have, and if Aaron Rodgers can duplicate the MVP production he certainly had last year. And then some other breaking news. This could be some fallout from this potential restructuring. Missouri is going to be in line for a new athletic director as Jim Sturk, their AD, has now resigned.
Man, how would you like to step in to those shoes in Missouri to be an incoming athletic director at the time of some big-time college expansion for football? I mean, that is a task that is going to be monumental.
It really will.
I would think.
But it was such a great honor to feature Tyra Lewis Jr. once again this morning. Thank you. Big kudos to him and his family for allowing us the time going into his second year with the New Orleans Pelicans. Thank you to Barrett Jones. He will be speaking at the Red Elephant Club tonight starting at 5:30 at Madison County. They're out at the Jackson Center. And, of course, Keith Niebuhr talking recruiting.
All right, guys, don't forget 977ESPN.com. That's the home to be. Click on Zone Deals. You can get $25 worth of food for $50 for Bubby's Diner. That deal goes on sale on Friday. Stay with us for the rest of the week.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here, and it's summertime at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Come join us and enjoy our all-new summer fun menu featuring fan favorites like our Bam Bam Chicken, Go Fish, Alabama Gulf Buffalo Shrimp, and our all-new Buffalo-style Wing Fingers. All our shrimp dishes feature Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget, we're always looking for new legendary people to join our legendary team. Apply online at baumhauers.com/careers. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers has arrived at Packers training camp. The sides have been working on a deal containing concessions the team hopes will convince him to return to Green Bay for at least one more season. Concessions include voiding the final year of his current contract with no future tags. It would also address the reigning NFL MVP's issues with the organization. More on this story when ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum joins Greeny with Mike Greenberg in 20 minutes. U.S. gymnastics superstar Simone Biles left today's team finals at the Olympics because of a medical issue. With Biles out, the U.S. was beaten by Russia for the team gold. SEC presidents and chancellors will meet on Thursday to discuss expansion and whether to add Oklahoma and Texas to what would be college football's first super conference of 16 teams. Both schools could formally ask for membership as early as this week.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City,
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and on ESPN Plus.
Back and better than ever, Greeny, presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Goodyear Hotline. The drama unfolding before our eyes as we speak in Green Bay. What does it mean? There's drama overseas as well, and it sounds bad for Team USA. Plus 2 words to describe yourself, and time today for your phone calls. All that and more. Let's go.
Here we go.
Only one place to start.
Pretty decent result for Green Bay, especially considering all of the drama this offseason.
Packers are now offering concessions to the reigning NFL MVP, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
So if Aaron Rodgers still wants to trade after this year, he can get it.
25 minutes ago, Aaron Rodgers walked into the Green Bay Packers training facility with his sort of long hair in a ponytail, a pair of funky-looking, what I would describe as Devo-looking sunglasses, but they're yellow, and a T-shirt depicting Kevin from The Office spilling chili. Aaron Rodgers famously said we all need to RELAX. And today, he seems a lot more relaxed than I feel, and he's the man in literally the eye of a hurricane. He walked into that building like he had absolutely not a care in the world, and the only thing I can ask is, what just happened here? 24 hours ago, we're sitting in these seats and we're wondering, is this holdout going to be forever? Can he possibly ever play for the Packers again? At what point will the fans turn on him, his teammates turn on him? He can't possibly be in the same room with Mark Murphy. He can't be in the same room with Brian Gutekunst. 24 hours later, he gets off a private jet and he goes strolling in a pair of flip-flops. I can't believe what I just saw. Going back to the day of the draft, when Adam Schefter reported that Rodgers wanted out, and for anyone who may be wondering, well, have we had the story wrong the whole time? Hell no. He and his team have had a million opportunities to correct the record if the record was incorrect. But he's the one who said it was a beautiful mystery, and he's the one who kept going on with McAfee and talking about these things, and went on with Kenny Mayne and talked about the organization, and didn't show up for mandatory and non-mandatory things for the first time in his career. This was all real. So what happened? They gave him some concessions. What are they? The devil is always in the details, but I need to see these, because unless they are something I've not yet pictured, this feels like an enormous win for the Green Bay Packers, and my buddy Orlovsky said that exactly on Get Up this morning.
This feels like a huge swing and miss by Rodgers and his camp. It just does. I know we continue to throw around the word concession, but it doesn't seem like there has been a ton from the Packers other than saying, hey, we'll look at it again next year. The Packers get to eat their cake and have it too. Whatever the saying is. Right. They get to take the young quarterback, they get to groom the young quarterback, and keep the MVP of the league on the same team. So they get to do that as an organization. And that just to me seems like a huge win by Green Bay.
Let's make this Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. The expression is you get to have your cake and eat it too. And that is exactly what the Packers get. They get exactly what they wanted. They get Rodgers to come in. They make no meaningful concession. They planned on this coming season being his last season all along. That's why they drafted Jordan Love. Jordan Love has been earmarked by that organization to be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers in 2022 from the moment they drafted him. So now in comes Rodgers. Did they clear the deck so he becomes a free agent after this season? From everything we're hearing, no. This is not the Tom Brady situation all over again. On August 4th of 2019, Tom Brady worked out a deal with Robert Kraft in New England that removed any control the Patriots had over him when the season ended. Agreements they did not have to make. But they agreed they would not franchise him, they would not tag him in any way, and he was unencumbered. He was free and clear. He got to choose wherever he wanted to go. So he went to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that didn't have to trade away any of their assets. They had all their complement of draft picks. They had all their best players. Aaron Rodgers isn't getting that. So now your next season, let's say they put some poison pill in this contract. They're going to owe him some insane amount of money if he's still on the roster the first day of the 2022 league season. So they are forced to trade him. What exactly is it that makes them trade him where he wants to go? Let's say he wants to go to Denver. Let's say the Miami Dolphins offer a better package. Let's say the New York Jets offer, I'm just making, they wouldn't be them. Well, anybody offers the Packers. If the Broncos know that Aaron wants to be there and they know that it is in the contract that Rodgers can force his way out in a trade, well, why are they offering 2 1s and 2 2s and all that kind of stuff? Well, you know why? Because other teams will. So eventually it will get to a place, unless we need to see the details here, unless there's something in this contract that I can't imagine what it is. Some team will still have to trade a significant amount of value to acquire Aaron Rodgers from the Packers next year. So they will get their MVP back this season. They will compete for a championship, and then they'll be able to trade him next year. It's exactly what they wanted all along. The Packers are huge winners in this. Huge. Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst just kind of hung in there. And in the end, as far as I'm concerned, they win. Huge. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. All right, so in the absence of all the other information that we have here, I just gave Hembo a little assignment. I said, Hembo, give me some numbers, because the analytics people, of which you are one, love Rodgers. They adore Rodgers. Nobody in the history of the sport has numbers like Rodgers does. Tom Brady has all those rings, and everyone has to respect those. But the numbers that Aaron Rodgers puts up, particularly in touchdown and interception ratios, are just insane. Let's hear a couple of them.
Greeny, Aaron Rodgers has thrown 99 touchdowns against only 11 interceptions over the last 3 seasons. 99 to 11. That is by far the best ratio of its kind over any 3-season span in the history of the NFL.
Any 3-season span. And bear in mind, at least one of those, if not 2 of those seasons, we were talking about how they were down years for Rodgers by his standards, because those numbers were, the interception numbers were insanely low. But it was last year that boosted the touchdowns, right? Like he was in the 20s, and then the 40s.
Right, that's exactly right.
What were the numbers again? His numbers last year, what was it, 45 touchdowns? 48. It was something ridiculous like that. To be clear, his 9-to-1, 9 touchdowns for every 1 pick ratio is the best in any 3-season span in history. The second best is Tom Brady, for a stretch in which his ratio was 5.7 to 1. It's not even close.
It's not close.
He was throwing less than 6 touchdowns for every pick. Rodgers has thrown 9. What were the numbers last year?
So 48 to 5 last year.
48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year. That's not possible.
26 to 4 the year before. 26 to 2 the year before.
26 to 2. We were talking about it. I take back none of it because the eye test suggested it was real. But we were talking about how maybe he was starting to show signs of wear and tear and age, and he threw 26 touchdowns and 2 picks. I want to give more context to this. Now, you know I'm a believer in Jameis Winston. I haven't given up on him. But Jameis Winston was the starting quarterback in Tampa Bay for 5 years. He threw 88 interceptions. Now, he has played 6 years, but he didn't play for the Saints last year. He barely saw the field, and he didn't throw a pick. So really, he has thrown 88 interceptions in 5 seasons. Rodgers has been the starter for 13 seasons and thrown 89. He's only thrown 1 more pick than Jameis Winston. He's played almost 3 times as many seasons. Aaron Rodgers could throw 200 straight interceptions. He could throw an interception on each of his next 200 pass attempts and still have a better career touchdown to interception ratio than Jameis Winston.
So let me ask you, how many interceptions without throwing a touchdown does Rodgers need to throw before they call on Blake Bortles, before they call on Jordan Love?
About 200. They would probably have to get to that. He would probably have to throw interceptions on his first 200 passes before they would bench him this year. And when he takes the field in week 1, he'll become the longest tenured player in the history of the Packers. It is a fascinating thing, that symmetry that we've talked about. Bart Starr, the legend, was the starting quarterback, or was on the Green Bay Packers roster for 16 years. Brett Favre, the legend, Packers, 16 years. Aaron Rodgers, the legend, Packers, 16 years. As of now, it starts 17. So he will surpass those 2 guys. I remain floored by how this has turned out. Greeny with you, presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. We need to get more into this, and we will when Mike Tannenbaum joins us coming up in just a few moments. And then I will give you another statistic about another player in another sport that suggests he is genuinely having a season unlike any in the history of anything. Don't miss it. That's next. We're just getting started. I'm Greeny, and this is ESPN Radio.
Tuesday on Barton Hahn, the day has arrived. Will Aaron Rodgers be a no-show at Packers training camp, or is he ready to embark on the last dance in Green Bay? Barton Hahn, 12 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus.
With round-the-clock protection at a great price, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to, unlike this unenthusiastic hype man.
Okay, everybody, let's make some noise. Put your hands up. Or not. It's your call. Here we go now. Here we go.
Switch to Progressive today.
It is electric in here.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you're ready for an oil change, trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Right now, get 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil and a Wix filter for $33.99. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate and double O Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Greeny on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When the Braves take the field, count on your home for Atlanta Braves baseball to bring you every huge game.
1 pitch is hit high in the air and deep to right field. Kiss it goodbye. Touch all 4 this time, Ozzie.
Tonight, it's an epic division showdown in the Big Apple as Ozzie Albies and the Braves look for an NL East win against the New York Mets. Braves Radio goes on the air at 5:55 Eastern, 4:55 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortAndSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Walt Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.